8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Live from the Rob Christensen Radio Network Satellite Studio, it's Jim and Rob Overanalyze the Movies. Well, I kind of screwed up that, folks. My bad. I got shunted into a different chat room and was nagging my co-host, "Where are you? We're going live." And we weren't. So that little bit of fessing up out of the way. Thank you all very much for coming by. My name's Rob, co-host of the Jim and Rob Overanalyze Movies podcast. The podcast for people who love to talk about movies as much as they love watching them. And today we're actually going to be talking about, not about a movie, but actually about movie awards. It is the 78th Golden Globe Awards nominations were announced this morning. And so, yeah, we're going to be chatting about that. Just to quickly go through the agenda with y'all. What we're going to do is I'm going to bring Jim in. We'll bring our special guest, to be named, was named. You know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing, but you know what I'm trying to accomplish. But yeah, what we'll do is the Golden Globes have so many categories. We're basically just going to go take a look at the best actresses, who we think is not only our favorite, like the one we'd really like to win, but also the one we think will probably win. And then the one where it's like, if that person wins, we're going to poke our eyes out or something. And then we'll talk about the best actor, best television show, and that, again, across all their many, many, many subcategories. And then we'll wrap it up with film. So there you go. We're going to start with actresses. We're going to end on film and stuff in the middle that most likely we'll forget about. Okay, so with that out of the way, let me make sure I'm actually on my agenda. Yes, I am finally back on track. First of all, let me give a big welcome to our wonderful co-host. The man, if he was controlling it, might not have been such a mess at the beginning. Mr. Jim Chaboyko.
Snubbed again.
Snubbed again. Yes, you were. And hey, look, another of my gizmos is not working again.
Oh, no.
I can only hit it 82 times, and it still just doesn't. Oh, wait a second.
I hear something. There we go.
All right.
Very faint. It was a slow clap.
There we go.
That's
exactly it. We'll be a bit better prepared for a good friend, Mr. Cody Brockopp from the Brockopp Side. Everybody give a warm welcome to Cody.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Hey, did somebody shave recently?
Yeah.
You're looking a little more aerodynamic, my friend.
No.
No.
Yeah, I did it for the sake of a video I just posted today, and I woke up the day after I shaved like, oh, why did you do this, man?
Well, you know what? Looks great. And if you're talking about the Blues Clues video, that was on point. We'll have to make sure we'll pin that later. Of course, Cody, our friend from the Brockopp Side, another great YouTuber in the space, and we've done a few of these together, and we're so glad you could join us for another one.
Yeah.
All right, let's say hello to our long-suffering fans, the folks in the chat. Here we go. Jim, I'll just throw you up there.
Certainly.
Let's move everyone around a little. All right. Okay. First of all, let's say hello to Vlad65.
Woo!
You know what? Let's give him a cheer. And of course, I'm really wondering why it's coming in so weak, but oh well.
No, yeah, I can hear it.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
I can
right.
hear it too.
Oh, good. Jelly Duck. Ahmed. Woo!
Woo!
All right. And then, Richard L. And I suspect that means Katie Fowler is somewhere nearby.
Hey,
Hello,
kids.
Richard.
Woo! Reveal yourself. Yeah.
All right. And, look at this. Vlad65 saying, Jim.
That's me.
Changes. All right. Okay, well, with that out of the way, folks, like I said before, you know what? We're going to kind of go through this sort of big super category by super category.
Wow.
But at the same time, while we're chatting, please put your, what's your favorite? What's the one you want, the one you'd really want to win, the one you're like, I don't care, but that person will probably get it. And then, of course, the one where you're like, what? I thought it was an award, for being good. Without at the same time knocking the actual actor. I think we do need to establish some ground rules there. We're not here to crap on the actor themselves, the actress themselves. There's just too many things that go into getting a good performance for it to just be that person's fault. So with those ground rules out of the way, are you gents ready to get started?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Whatever you said.
All right. Okay. Well, why don't we bear with me, my friends.
I want some of whatever Cody's drinking. I suspect it's his preparation gin.
Yeah.
Not this time. It's actually just coffee.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I'm trying to get off the preparation gin, actually. Yeah.
Well, that's probably a good idea. Well, tell you what. Why don't we start with? And do you need what do we need just to get our first thoughts on your overall impressions? Do we need a minute? Do we need 2 minutes?
Probably a minute.
Yeah, probably
I would
about a
say, yeah.
All right, then bear with me, guys. Let me get that. Whoops, I did not want that there. I wanted that here.
Just before we start, if you ever want to get an idea of how complicated this particular award shows is, try to explain it to someone, just with the various categories, and even taking a look at some of the nominees today. There's
okay. Well, you know what? I'm just going to start the timer because Jim's obviously Jim's taking over. All right, Jim, you got your minute.
There was TV shows that are nominated as movies, series that are nominated as individual movies, all kinds of stuff. But lots of love for former SNL people. I'm wearing my Jason Sudeikis shirt. And Andy Samberg won from Brooklyn Nine-Nine a few years ago, and now he's nominated for a movie. So that's kind of fun. Palm Springs, which is probably the most traditional picture in his category of comedy and musical. But and there's a lot of double nominees. Just the whole comedy, musical, and drama schism just makes it so much tougher. And then for supporting actors, they're all put in one little pot. So it makes it even more confusing, but good on them. It's kind of a fun, casual award show, and Tina Fey and Amy Poehler are hosting this year, so that should be fun as well. And a minute and scene.
There you go. All right, let's cue that up one more time. All right, Cody, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm totally ready.
Yeah. All right, counting down, brother.
Okay, well, after looking at all the nominations, it made me realize just how awfully out of touch I've been with movies lately. Because a lot of these I was like, okay, haven't seen that, haven't seen that. Okay, I saw that one. I've only seen one in this category, so it just kind of reminds me just how many movies I just simply didn't check out that I probably would have any other year. But, there are a few things I did recognize, like you mentioned, Jim, Andy Samberg and Palm Springs. I'm glad that got nominated. As well as a few other ones and a couple that I haven't seen yet, but I'm confident they probably will win a few awards and will be really good when I actually do get to see it. So, I think some of these winners will potentially drive up a lot of interest for some of these movies, which will be kind of cool. And
clever.
Yeah.
Oh, aren't you cute? All right.
Down to the second.
Down to the second. All right. First of all, let's welcome a couple more folks in the chat. Lost in the Reel, Sean from Lost in the Reel, fresh off of covering what seemed to be half of Sundance, maybe more.
Ooh, that's right. It's over today.
And he was doing like triple reviews multiple times this week. Sean, great to see you in the chat. And we're looking forward to a couple of your hot takes on this stuff in the chat as well. And then, of course, our good friend, another Sundance correspondent, didn't go quite as deep as Sean did. Our friend, Dan from the Upside. Dan, good to see you, man.
Dan.
All right, I think it's and then somebody's sticking their tongue out at us. All right, so let's get the countdown going. You know what? I'm basically just doubling up on what you guys said. First, wow, so many categories, but I guess you can. It's weird. It's almost like we've got to fill up 3.5 or 4 hours of evening television, and we don't have craft stuff. Like, there's no technical thing. I don't even know if they do technical stuff, but there's not even the fancy best screenplay or best cinematography or anything like that. I also Cody, like, I'm glad I limited us. Half these shows I'm like, oh, that's a television show? Huh. Well, isn't that interesting? And then, of course, I don't know, there's still the cynic in me kind of going, no one has their favorite Oscar moments except people who win Oscars. People win awards. They have favorite moments. There you go. That's my hot take. No one's going to remember any of this.
I don't even remember, and you just said it.
I think if they remember anything, it's typically if Ricky Gervais hosts and he says several naughty things at the start. Those are the kinds of... And then everyone rails against him and it creates a big controversy. Those are the things that people remember. It's the safe stuff that people tend not to... And Tina and Amy are generally pretty funny, but if anything, it's that first 20 minutes are probably the most enjoyable of the whole night.
Yeah. And you know what? People who win, if it's a good win, really no one will remember. If it's a middling win, no one's going to remember. It's the controversial win. I mean, Pia Zadora. If you don't know who that is, folks, look her up. It will reward you. Pia Zadora. All right. I think that's... that about does it for kind of our first thoughts. Guys, are you good with jumping into Best Actress?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Again, Cody, we'll pick on you once you start us off. What was, if we're talking about I'd really like her to win. And although I say one, if there's two you'd really like to win in different categories, throw down. That's, no one cares what we think anyway, so.
Okay. So no timer now?
No timer. Yeah, this is all just...
Okay.
We're just going to round table now. I'll put you on a timer. I'll bring out the timer if I have to. If I got to, gentlemen, we'll bring out the timer.
We'll get the hook, the old hook from off stage.
Or I just bring up the music. Okay, that's enough.
I really like this one. Sorry, if I just made somebody's ears get blown up.
Trey Award show.
Okay.
Well, it seemed apropos.
Yeah.
Anyway, so who's the one you'd love to, or where do you want to start? Do you want to start with who you think will win a Best Actress nom, or like the actual Globe?
Yeah. Let's see. I guess if I was going to pick one, considering it's, I think, one of the only movies on the list with the Best Actress category I actually saw, I think it'd be Carey Mulligan in Promising Young Woman. I think I talked about that movie last time I was on here, and I thought it was a very well executed movie, and Carey Mulligan just absolutely owns that role she played. So I think she definitely is a strong contender. I guess as far as who I feel like has a good chance of getting it is, I believe I'm slipping on her name a little bit, but I think it's Frances McDormand in Nomadland.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen the movie yet, but it looks really good in the trailers, and I've heard a lot of good praise about it. So, just kind of going off of those basic things, I feel like she's got a good chance of winning as well. And as far as like one that I would, get all pissed off and burn my house down in anger over, there really isn't anything in that category, to be perfectly honest. Like I said, only like one or two of those movies I actually managed to see this year, early or last year, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I only have like 2 out of 3 categories. So I hope that's not gonna dock me any points from my final score or anything.
All right. No, well, you know what? It's just a knot. When we look at this afterwards and we talk about where we were right, where we weren't, there'll just be a blank there. All right.
It can't be wrong if you don't contribute, right?
Exactly. But nor can you get points for being right. All right, Jim, what about you? Where are you starting on the actress,
Now, yeah, well, it seems that Viola Davis has quite a lot of momentum just from her career in general. She gets big profiles on 60 Minutes, and she's sort of out there. This one, she wore a lot of prosthetics. Like she really changed her look, and it's not even it's not like she's very sweaty and the makeup's all running down her face. So it's not a glamorized portrayal of Ma Rainey. I should say it's for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And there's also the added bonus of, sorry, I shouldn't rephrase it that way, but it's Chadwick Boseman's last movie. I shouldn't say added bonus, but there's, I think, some sentimentality there. We'll probably get to that when his category comes up. But, and I think with a lot of the BIPOC attention on BIPOC nominees, she probably would have a good shot at it. Frances McDormand is always, she's always seems to have an advantage. And Carey Mulligan, too, is sort of a young up-and-comer. I like her. She's in one of the first times I saw her was in it. She almost had an entire Doctor Who episode to herself. And called which one was it? I can't. It's flipping right now, but so probably I would say Viola Davis for my money.
Is that the one that you're kind of she's probably going to get it in her category? Or is it also the one that heart one? The one is
Yeah. Probably the heart one. My mind says that Frances McDormand. She's sort of like the Tom Brady of actress nominees, almost like a Meryl Streep type, who was snubbed apparently this year. For
that ridiculous nonsense on the ship.
Well, the musical and the one on the ship, which we don't have to know the name of because she was snubbed for it. But anyway, so I'd say. I wouldn't be surprised if Frances McDormand wins.
So we've got what you think will win, which is similar to Cody's, and then you got who you'd like to win, Viola Davis. Anyone on these lists where you're kind of going, are you kidding me?
Now, are we separating the drama and the musical comedy? No, okay.
No.
Because that's another tricky aspect of that. A lot of the musical comedy actresses, I'm just sort of looking at a list now, and aside from Anna Taylor-Joy, I'm not sure. There was the woman in the Maria Bakalova in the Borat movie. There was Kate Hudson in the movie called Music.
What, like if they won, this would bother you?
No, I'm saying that.
That's what I'm kind of zeroing in on here.
Like I don't know any of them, so nothing in the drama. In the musical comedy, I'm not sure many of those movies saw the light of day. So, but yeah, nothing really stands out. Nothing. I don't find anything sort of irritating.
Okay. For myself, gents, I would say. You know what? I'll start with the hot take. It would really bug me and this is the problem, actually. It's not, although I'm not necessarily a fan of her work anyway. That said, it's when they have so many categories, all of a sudden they got to fill it up, right? So all of a sudden you got that, like, almost offensive bit of nonsense, Emily in Paris, where young woman, no experience, ends up being an executive in Paris and doesn't even know French. Hijinks ensue. And this is Lily Collins, and it's like, come on, especially against, like, even if you have to, she was in the category actress, television series, musical, or comedy. If you're really stuck, give it to Catherine O'Hara. She can slap one more amazing award on her toilet shelf or whatever, and call it a day. So I think that would be like kind of really. Now, well, I won't remember this for in 5 years anyway. As far as who I liked, I'm going to go with you guys on the maybe not on liked, but on the likely. Frances McDormand. I like the way you guys. She is. There's a what kind of similar to what I was saying about Catherine O'Hara, except it's a super easy choice, especially if you haven't seen all this stuff, or there's whole swaths. As far as who I'd like, that's. I gotta admit, I kind of have a bit of a soft spot for, and I've talked about this as part of my guilty pleasures, I have a soft spot for Kaylee Cuoco. I'm not sure the flight attendant was, quite good enough, but what she's done in animation, there's somebody who may not get awards recognition, but I think really has delivered a lot of stuff, and deserves recognition. Beyond the millions of dollars and vast commercial success. If we're talking about mine, the heart says Kaylee Cuoco. I'm with you guys. That's against Frances McDormand. It's just not going to happen. And within that bundle of actresses, Carrie Mulligan role, I could kind of see that one too, more on the, like, if I was betting, like if it was I want to win, I might get tugged on that one a little, because she's got that, she's a younger Frances McDormand / what the hell is the woman's name again? Help me out here, Jim.
The other one we're talking about, Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
So I could kind of see that, but Anyway, those are my three. Those are the ones I'm sticking with. We can then torture each other with just how far off we were.
Sure. I should mention one of the other categories as a television movie, and it's got Daisy Edgar Jones for Normal People, which Canadians can view on CBC Gem. And she's great. She does this aging thing where they go from teenagers to being in their 20s, and she pulls it off. It's quite a show, and it's kind of devastating in a lot of ways. And she's fantastic in it.
All right, good note. Thanks for putting it out there. Do you want to adjust your?
No, it's fine. It's all these 97 acting categories. It's so
exactly. We'd be here all night.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, we all have lives. It's the middle of the week.
We do.
And
Shawshank is here.
That's our first hour, folks. Thanks.
All right. Okay, now we'll take a work break. Y'all go do what you do. We'll be right back here in 8 hours. Okay.
Here's the clicker. Feel free to change the channel if you want to.
Ooh, good one. All right. Now it's okay. We've got, first of all, Shawshank dropped by.
Woo.
Working hard, studying, but popped in to say hello. Listen,
getting back at the dean.
Shawshank would love to hear you comment on all these things in the comment part. And you know what? We'll because love to get your opinion on this stuff. All right. So Lost in the Reel, Sean, our friend Sean, says Carey Mulligan or Vanessa Kirby all the way.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So with you on Cody, with you on the Carey. Another vote for Carey Mulligan, at least on the I suspect on the passion side. What was Vanessa Kirby?
I think it was just Pieces of a Woman. I think the Netflix. I think it was a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
Added to the list
I
of
think
movies
that's exactly. Yeah, she lost a child in pregnancy, and yes. Okay. You know what? It's just like Lost in the Reel, but the main four were all amazing. Okay, everybody giving each other some love, which is awesome. Oh, look at this. Ahmed saying Roman, Cody, you're looking good. He's liking that smooth shave.
Why, thank you.
Oh, you got to get the proximity. Why, thank you. Why, thank you.
Why, thank you.
Awesome. Okay. The Upside Down. The Upside Down says, I love Viola Davis, but I second Carey Mulligan or Vanessa Kirby. Those three in drama are my picks. I haven't seen any of the other movies yet.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, is there anyone that bugs you that you'd think, why? If that person were to win, you'd be just like, what the And again, not necessarily a Pia Zadora moment. The Hollywood Foreign Press Association, which I'm sorry, guys, I still find like it's kind of ridiculous. But the Hollywood Foreign Press Association has done a lot to kind of at least be the setup for the Oscars as opposed to the LA joke. Hey, who wants an award? All right. Lost in the Reel says Bakalova is going to win hands down in her category.
A lot of people are saying that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. All right. And then Upside Down. Bakalova is my pick as well within her category. What was she in? What?
She was in Borat 2.
The young lady. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, she was Borat's daughter.
When Giuliani was adjusting his pants on the bed, she was the other woman in the room. When I say adjusting his pants, I mean that in a legally non-binding way.
Yeah. Lost in the Reel, Sean goes, love Cuoco, but the flight attendant is meh.
Yeah.
And that's like, you guys feel the same way?
Yeah. I only saw like the first 2 episodes. It's kind of interesting, but I'm like, I don't need to watch the whole thing right now, you know?
It was probably 2 episodes too long, and there's just a lot of. Kudos to her; she was playing an unlikable character, but it took her a long time to cotton on to what was happening, and it was almost sort of Trumpish in the fact that she listened to none of the experts that gave her advice. Her lawyer listened to nobody; like she knew the best. And
I can figure this out.
It ended well. It started interesting. It ended well, but the middle was sort of a soft pile of mush.
Bit of a slog.
A little bit, yeah.
If you want some, if you want some good Kaylee Cuoco content on HBO Max, just check out Harley Quinn.
Which is effing brilliant.
Yeah, Rob's talked about that before.
Yeah, I cannot speak well enough, which is why I'm a fan of hers. It's just, this one, I got through one episode and I'm like, and then I figure I'll return to it eventually.
Yeah.
But I kind of like you, Cody. I'm like, I didn't need to watch it right now. There's more interesting, there's more compelling stuff out there, you know?
Mm-hmm. No. Yeah, the best part of that show was Zosia Mamet, her lawyer friend, and
oh really?
Yeah, she was pretty good. So, in my opinion,
I'll have to go back to it eventually. Eventually. All right. Okay, we have taken care of actresses, and it looks like everyone in the chat has kind of chimed in on that. So I think it's time to bring up. What are our thoughts on Best Actor? Jim, do you want to start us off on Best Actor?
Certainly the
and again, you know what? Who you'd like to see win?
Mm-hmm.
Who you're like? Oh yeah, that person for sure. And then who you're like? Does there anybody bother you?
So there's a couple things just as we're talking about this, and I was thinking about it today. There's sort of, and as I sort of discussed with the actress category, you have your old veteran, right? You have your young wily newcomer, and then there's the sort of the BIPOC,
for the young wily newcomer,
the BIPOC representation, and it seems that these three are sort of three forces up against each other, and then you add to that if you've got sort of a Forrest Gump kind of role where you're overcoming a handicap or something, or if you are wearing a lot of makeup, or you're doing one of those Jude Law bad teeth roles, something like that. That's sort of an added. You get bonus.
It should
points.
be like a hashtag.
Yeah,
Jude Law bad teeth roll.
You get sort of bonus points for that. Chadwick Boseman, I have to think, like Heath Ledger, when the year that he won an Oscar for playing the Joker. I think he's got a big chance of winning that in his category. Otherwise, for musical comedy or drama, I liked Andy Samberg just because I'm an SNL guy.
Yeah.
And I also have to say that I think we lost Cody there for a sec.
Oh yeah, no, he dropped off.
And I the one that I think I haven't seen The Prom, but one of the ones that was bugging a lot of people I noticed today was James Corden being nominated for The Prom over apparently Meryl Streep. I don't know if it works that way, but yeah. So that's.
I'm. You know what? I don't. You know what? It on its face, the film seemed ridiculous, and then a couple of reviews later, I'm like, no, I can spend my time better than on The Prom.
Yeah.
It sounded like like some of these films that would have been pushing an envelope in the 90s, or actually offensive now. As we've discovered, Jim, as we've done our "Does It Hold Up" thing. Mr. Brockopp's back.
No good.
So Jim, back to actors. Who is your likely pick again?
Well, I think Chadwick Boseman has a high chance of winning. Just because I think he represented a lot. In terms of hope, and he was going to be a leading man probably for the next 20 years, I would think. But that didn't happen. And yeah, so I think he's probably my pick for probably definitely going to win something. Yeah, we'll say definitely. And then just in the comedy or musical category, I like Andy Samberg. Jeff Daniels was nominated for James Comey for the Comey Rule for playing James Comey. That was kind of a stiff. I mean, he wasn't stiff. Yeah. So him and Brendan Gleeson. Brendan Gleeson, of course, playing Trump.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty good portrayal without being an impression necessarily. It was an impression, but not in that standard Vegas kind of way. Yeah. But the James Comey one, I don't think it required a lot. And being an advocate, I guess the panel's advocate for normal people, Paul Mescal, who ran opposite Daisy Edgar Jones, was not nominated. So
this cop could have played James Comey.
Yeah,
would have done a fine job.
Yeah. So those are a few other things, and I believe, again, so many categories. But I'm just looking at it now, and I think
so many.
It's ridiculous. I think that here it is. Jason Sudeikis was nominated for Ted Lasso, which is an Apple TV role. I don't have a. Oh, you've seen it?
brilliant show.
And again, I'm wearing my Jason Sudeikis
Gets me in the
SNL shirt,
feels.
which I bought at 30 Rock. Yeah, another, I like him just out of, nostalgia. I'm a fan, so.
Sounds good. All right, let's get Cody up. Cody, where are you coming from on actors?
I think my thoughts on that are not too different from what Jim said. I do think Chadwick Boseman will most likely end up winning, just because not only is he a great actor, but also I think giving him a nice posthumous award would be a really good send off to him. That's kind of the big one.
And he didn't get it for, telling, isn't it, gang? The Five Bloods.
Yeah.
I didn't see it once in here.
And people were horrified. There were so many critics. The Eli guy for CBC was like, I can't believe it wasn't nominated. I can't believe Delroy Lindo wasn't nominated. Anyway.
Watch it again, Eli.
Yeah,
maybe give it another shot. Okay, sorry, my apologies.
Sorry, Cody.
So you went Chadwick Boseman.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like Jim. He's not new.
Don't get us started about the Five Bloods, Cody.
Oh, and get used to that, Cody. We'll be the whole shtick. All right, my friend. But yes, Chadwick Boseman. As far as let's say, call it a lock.
Mm-hmm.
Or you feel your money would be safe. Who would you like to see win within all the nominees? Like, just maybe won't, but you really liked.
Well, I would like to see Andy Samberg win in the comedy category, because I thought I did a great job.
Springs.
Yeah, I thought I did a great job. I just really enjoyed that movie. So that's kind of like who I think will win, who I would like to win. As far as, there aren't any performances or nominations here that I was like, what the f-? But, I think it would have been nice. I know you guys aren't big fans of the Five Bloods, but I do think there needs to be some credit where credit is due. I feel like Delroy Lindo could have been a decent contender for a role.
Well, he would have been better than this cup nominated for the Comey side, or the Comey what? The Comey version.
Oh, the Comey rule?
Yes. Exactly. Continue, Chad. I mean, Cody. So you think Delroy Lindo got maybe a little snub there? You'd be with the snub crowd?
Yeah, I don't know if he would have won necessarily, but I feel like it would have been nice to see a nomination for the guy, because I think he was one of the stronger performances in the movie. I'm not saying like the movie needs like all the awards or anything, but I'm like, it's like there's good stuff in there. Okay, leave me alone.
Well,
Lester,
what? The Wire guy was in it, so that's I'm like, hey, The Wire.
You know what? We don't have to agree here. That's the best part, right? Like, I mean, there's no stakes. All right. For myself, guys, my heart, Ted Lasso. I just loved that series. I loved it so much, and I was so impressed with everyone in it. Everyone. And I'm wondering, did the woman, Eddington, did she? I don't think she did get nominated as a comedy actress, series comedy actress. Bear with me. No, she didn't. That's a terrible snub.
And she's the opposite on Ted Lasso?
The opposite on Ted Lasso. You know what? And and I can't. You know what? There was some of these categories. Well, no, they put Lily effing Collins for Emily in Paris. Like, I mean, that's got a number of nominations. WTF? Just give them all. Send them. Sorry, these were misaddressed. Off to the Ted Lasso production office. There's a hot take for the night. So I'd love to see him. I agree with you guys. Chadwick Boseman for sure. You know what? But we could get lucky. Because we're a lot of times we're picking from different categories. Maybe I'll get Tad Lasso, and I'll be right on Chadwick Boseman. Not really a big swing for on a wild pitch. But yeah, I'm with you guys. The one I do, and I don't mean that this cup, the Comey
Jeff
rule
Daniels.
didn't really require. It didn't require much, and it for a number of reasons. It's like, why he makes the real life guy, like, I mean, for whatever reason, they chose a performance style where he's just such a milk toasty nice guy, you're just kind of, and maybe that is Comey. I don't know. No one gets to that level being that much mush.
Yeah.
You've got to be ambitious, driven, focused. I remember in that series, his wife was like, she was always interesting when she was on the screen.
Yes.
I don't think, for whatever reason, they decided to portray Jeff Daniels as that, or Jeff Daniels decided to portray him as that, and that did not, that allowed me to compare the performance to this cup with this.
I can just imagine going to Sunday and the winner is Rob's freaking cup, man.
Stranger
The
things
cup
have happened.
says.
I'd like to thank the Academy.
Well, and it's really just a shameless riff on. Remember when the inanimate carbon rod, got a medal in The Simpsons? Because that's what saved them all. Because, ticker tape parade, an inanimate carbon rod. Okay, let's catch up with the chat. But before we do that, I think it's a perfect time, Jim. Don't you think? Wouldn't you guys agree that this is a perfect time to? Oh, and Cody, I'd like to point out not that you can. It's hard to see right now, but you can see where I actually put you in the. I obviously didn't design the background as well as I could have, but you are in it.
Oh, I'm seeing the curtains and a couple of words, so you're good.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, never mind. I'm wasting everyone's time now. Okay, where was I, Jim? Yes, it's that time, folks. If you like what you're watching, please slap the like button. Of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe and ringy ding that bell.
Doppler effect.
All right. Okay. Let's see what's going on in the chat. We've got a number of opinions have come out. All right. Okay. The Upside Down says, guys, I want Chadwick Boseman to win in his category. Andy Samberg because I want Palm Springs to get the attention it deserves. And that's an interesting kind of take on it, eh? Sometimes you're pulling for the person, sometimes you're pulling for the whole project. And I think that's, what is that? I want to say it's not Eddington, which is another wonderful British sitcom from the early 80s. Paul Eddington. Yes, Minister. Yes, Prime Minister. I will look it up. Okay. So that's the Upside Down. And then he chimes in. The Upside Down continues. Daniel Kaluuya? Do you guys know?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I think
What are you thinking, Cody?
Yeah, I think it's Daniel Kaluuya.
Kaluuya, like Kaluuya? Or Kaluuya?
I think it's Kaluuya.
I think it's Kaluuya, but not so much emphasis on the Y. I don't know.
Okay. Maybe, you know what? Maybe one of our Balmoral Street Researcher regulars can type and help us out there so we're not offending too many people. All right. But he says Daniel for his, but he really liked Leslie Odom Jr.'s performance. So that was kind of, I guess, one of his favorites. Okay. Here's an interesting comment from Vlad65. Agree that you can't win doing Comey.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting take, eh, guys? Like, I mean,
like out of all the straight men, he's probably the straightest. I like ice cream after my dinner meal. You know, like it's just he's so kind of clean and robotic without, I mean, you know, not even robotic. Like that's interesting. You know, guy plays, Brent Spiner playing Data is even more interesting as a robot than Comey was being a human Comey, you know, but
yeah. But that's interesting, eh? Like, I mean, you think about it, for an individual, and like I said, these people are ambitious. You don't just kind of meh your way into leading a preeminent law enforcement agency. You know, like especially with a past as colorful as the FBI's. You know, you've got it. There's more than just, well, he was the most boring guy in the room. Like, I mean, so what are we missing here? You know, that's kind of what I'm curious about.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a good point.
All right. Okay. So Richard says Chadwick Boseman will win. Not that he doesn't deserve it, but no awards show would pass up an opportunity to pay homage to a star who's passed. Yeah. And really at not even the height of his career, but almost that, well, now we're going to assault the summit point. It's like he's above 20,000 feet. They're about to ascend and all of a sudden gone.
Yeah. The in memoriam part of the Golden Globes is going to be about 90 minutes long, I think. It was a horrible year for prominent people. And a lot of them, you know, Sean Connery was in his 90s, but
I mean, hundreds of thousands, millions literally around the globe.
Oh, of course. But some pretty high profile people that, you know, household names passed away this year. And
you're absolutely right. Okay, the Upside Dan says, yeah, I think Boseman would deserve it regardless, actually. That's like within his nomination category, I don't think there's anyone where you're going, oh, but what about? Although that'd be interesting. Is there someone we're missing in the but what about? Sean says, guys, Lost in the Reel says, Andy Samberg should win, but won't. They'll give it to Lin-Manuel Miranda, I think.
That's a hot take.
I could kind of see that, actually.
You know,
I think people might have an issue with a filmed play being marketed as a movie, but you know, and it's already got its. I mean, the Hamilton name is a big get, but it's already been nominated, you know, out the wazoo for Tonys and everything else. So, I mean, it's got its recognition, and watching sort of a little bit of I've seen it. We're big, you know, Hamilton fans in this house. Never seen it live, but my daughter has sort of was responsible for that, and so I've seen it a number of times now. It's great, but
well, your daughter is a theater geek, isn't she?
Yes,
like
and turned me into one. But I have to say, just with Groundhog Day yesterday, Groundhog Day the musical was one of the best things I've ever seen in any medium. One of the most enjoyable things that we saw that in New York a couple of years ago. But so having said that, yeah, you're predisposed to sort of want to root for it. And Leslie Odom's great, Lin-Manuel's great, the play's great, but you know, is it and that's something that they've been talking about in the chat a bit. Yeah, or even movie, or is it, you know, anyway.
What do you think, Cody? Like, yeah, I got to admit, I think of it almost like a special presentation of a live musical performance. Like, does it qualify as a TV show? You know,
well,
what we're doing now is more of a TV show than I would say them sticking cameras on a stage at.
Yeah.
Well, I live in a fantasy world. I think we're doing the TV shows. Sorry, Cody. I keep.
No, you're good. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of conflicted on that myself because, you know, it's not like a cinematic version of the play, like a like a Les Mis or something. It's just, it's kind of like, like when you go to the theater, back when those things were existent in Canada. Do you guys ever have like Fathom events?
Which? Say that again?
Fathom?
Basically, it's like a company that will put like Hamilton-style productions on the big screen, basically. So like big budget, like you can go to a movie theater and watch a taping of the show instead of. So it feels like it's
opera from
like,
the Met,
Yeah, so I think it's so it's kind of like that, I think. Yeah. But just on Disney Plus, and probably had like a little bit of a higher budget because it's Disney who did it. But I guess it being considered like a TV or a movie nominations would be kind of like if they nominated a stand-up comedy special almost. Because it's kind of the same thing. People on stage performing, you hear the audience's reaction to stuff. So,
well, then you do like what used to be a best variety special presentation. That used to be a thing that was nominated when variety shows were a thing.
Yeah.
Tommy Hunter tonight.
Oh, Krusty the Clown did one, didn't he? Send in the clowns, and he had a cigarette going. And and Lola Heatherton on SCTV, we all remember her. Yes.
And poor Cody's, sure, old man.
Yeah, I know some of those words
more
too.
Late 70s and early 80s obscure Canadian references. Well, Simpsons wasn't that.
Never mind. I got into a Twitter conversation about both Yan Can Cook and Martin Yan and Stephen Yan, who were the two Chinese chefs today. So that was a big 1981 for people who are homesick from school and watching TV. Anyway.
Okay, back to what we were actually talking about.
No.
Don't want the Upside Down says I don't want Lin-Manuel Miranda to win. I guess either. He continues. He's good. Don't get me wrong. I just want Sandberg to win.
Wow,
so it looks like there's something that. And here's an interesting one. Like for me, when I kind of picked up that, what would bother you? I was more thinking about, it's just this is not deserving of praise. Whereas here it's like no one's knocking the performance. Is it even appropriate to be nominated? Which is kind of fascinating. And here we go. You know what? He Sean at Lost in the Reel wraps it all up. I don't want Hamilton to win anything. I love it, but it's not a movie. Well, now there's your hot take. But that's a pretty defendable hot take,
Yeah.
The Upside Down chimes in. Yep, that too, Sean. Now Vlad kind of. Vlad's got and I'll read them like one after the other. This is kind of going back to some of these folks who have been playing real people. Vlad65 says, we've seen many awards for playing real people. Would Gary Oldman win for Mank in his category for that reason? Oh, and it's David Fincher. It's super arty. And
white.
There's some tragedy there because he's killing himself with his alcoholism. Though generally the character is better known, Churchill, Judy Garland, like thinking of some other people who've been portrayed. Then he goes to go on in his second message, Flat 65. In the Comey rule, I think the Brendan Gleeson nomination with all its baggage is worth discussing what happens if he wins. It did have that kind of bullying creep, old man creep thing going on. The
I was just going to say, the interesting part is that there's no passage of time, really. I mean, it was a filmed version of something that happened only 2 years before. The guy was still in office when it was released. So that's pretty extraordinary. You don't usually see that quick a turnaround. I always think back to, there's an Australian crime show called Underbelly, and it's about the Melbourne gangster scene, and it was filmed like 5-10 years after these guys had all been killed and wiped out each other out, which is fairly narrow kind of. And I thought, wow, there's probably still some people around that would take exception to some of the portrayals. But anyway, this is speaking of gangsters in a legally non-binding way. This is happening during. I don't know if anybody's portrayed a president while he's still been in office. That would be kind of an interesting thing to take a look at.
I want to say yes.
Probably, but I can't think offhand. And such a critical and look too.
And about that president.
Yes.
Like even though it's about Comey, it really is about Trump. Like he's the elephant.
Yeah.
You know, he is the subject.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's the object. It is about Comey, but the object of the movie sentence.
He's also the antagonist, right? So
yeah. Vlad65 says everyone said. I'm assuming Vlad, you're referring to. You're continuing to refer to the Comey rule. Everyone said it was not a parody. Quote, quote, close quote. Not an SNL version. And yeah, I didn't think it was. You know, Gleason's. I thought it was. What did you think? Did you see the Comey rule, Cody? Cody, comment on Comey.
Oh.
Cody?
Can you
hear me?
Sorry, what's up?
Yeah.
You just lagged for a second.
Oh, okay. I was getting a little worried there. I was like, oh, we lost him. We have a man down. Orange Show has already taken out one of our best.
Mr. Stark, I'm not feeling so well.
Cody, what did you think of Gleason's performance as Trump in the Comey rule? Or was the Comey rule on your radar? Because that's the other thing. How do you watch all this?
Oh, I know.
You know?
Well, step one, you don't watch all of it because I definitely did not see the Comey rule.
Oh, wait. Oh, there we go. Absolutely right.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, there, now we're getting it. Got to practice for our upcoming special for Oscars trivia. Everyone stay tuned. It's another reason why you want to subscribe.
Yeah, get excited.
Get excited. We're going to have some fun with that one. All right, sorry. So you didn't watch it at all, so this is a moot question for you. Okay, we do have, though, and here, finally. Now, of course, if Shashank was here, he'd already chime in on this. But Katie Fowler says, I hope Bob Odenkirk wins in his category.
Oh,
and
yes.
Big yay from
Better Call Saul, baby.
What about the actor in the actress? What is her name? And she did she get? She did not get in a television series drama. She was not.
Wait, seriously?
In Better Call Saul, she was not nominated.
I think she's been nominated before in past years. I think I recall that. But.
Yeah.
I was gonna say she would definitely deserve a nomination too.
You'd think that, but apparently, and maybe that's what to divvy it up. Maybe it is like, oh, you could have added a couple people on the nomination list. All right, so Katie says that, and then the Upside Dan. Okay, we're gonna come back to Upside Down's comments first. Lost in the Reel says at Kaylee Fowler, yes, Odenkirk is amazing, and yeah, the guy has been embodied that role for so long. Sometimes you forget that they're still knocking it out of the park. Mm-hmm. You know. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Do you guys think? Actually, on that point, there used to be a time when a show would get all the nominations and win all the awards. And notwithstanding Schitt's Creek doing so well at the Emmys last year, which I think was a lot to do with it was their last year. They had picked up some credibility in the United States because of Netflix. Are we past that, do you think, guys? Cody, what do you think? Are we where a series just wins
domination.
All of the awards within its bracket, its, because there's just so much competition now.
Yeah, there's just so much content coming out nowadays through, every streaming service and, even still traditional means too. So it's kind of like, it's not like, a few years ago when you can just have like, that one major show and then everything else just kind of, whatever. Now it's like, we got all these really good shows, a little bit of, and then some like, that was pretty good. Yeah. So, yeah, we might very well be past that point because there's just so much to talk about and not talk about, and then, have two Canadian dudes talk about for several minutes while you just sit there twiddling your thumbs, trying to act like you know what you're doing, and
Cody, that pains me. Okay,
why? You're Canadian. What's up with that?
Okay, the Upside Down says, and do we agree with Jared Leto getting nominated for The Little Things? Apparently, this is something he's got the question mark, exclamation mark thing going on in his comment. I like that movie more than most, but no. And then Lost in the Reel chimes in, same, I think similar feelings, and he's like, the Upside, Lost in the Reel says Paul Raci, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Sure.
Should be nominated for The Sound of Metal, and Jared Leto took his spot. So that's unacceptable. Boy, Sean's on fire with the hot takes.
Oh, I know. He's fresh off. He's just coming right off his festival there.
He's had that high-quality thing going on.
He's got that Sundance adrenaline.
Yeah, that I haven't slept in several days watching movies.
Yeah. All right, Vlad65 says, I like Odenkirk. It was strange to see the nomination as the show was so long ago. Like in time, because they're still making it, right? They are still making it. I don't know. Shawshank, he's a huge fan, and I follow his Twitter feed, so it's like constantly about... I don't think of it as long ago. I think of it as, hey, look, another tweet from Shawshank about how wonderful Better Call Saul is.
Timing's a weird thing, too, because, the Emmys, which I believe occurred in September, or typically occur in September, they already dealt with, that was sort of the big splash, right, for Schitt's Creek. And so 5 months later, it's getting all this Golden Globe love. So the timing's really not, it felt like their ship has sailed already, and they got sort of the big night already. And now, 5 months later, depending on the schedule of this particular show, now it's being awarded again, which is great, which is fun, and it's nice to see all those names, and it sure would be cool to see the Levies and Catherine O'Hara and Annie Murphy get their due again. But the show's done. It's an odd thing. And the other thing too is I was trying to come up with some real hot takes earlier today. I'm like, True Detective was snubbed. Oh, that was last year. Unbelievable was snubbed. Oh, that was last year. And so it's each one of these award shows has their own timing. Yeah. Their eligibility dates
been kind of pushed.
Yeah, and that's the other weird
thing. Blown up, really.
Yeah,
I think, and maybe that's why we get that vibe. Vlad65 says, I was surprised Rhea Seehorn, that's who I was thinking of, was ignored in for Better Call Saul. Thank you very much, Vlad. And then Richard L. chimes in, Better Call Saul's last season is coming this year. So man. Well, they got to sooner or later. He's got another show to go to in the timeline. I've moved along here. Now I must go back. All right, guys. I think that's Saul this year. I know it's the last season, but we're sure the shooting schedule of COVID. LA, heck, Hollywood's making movies here in Winnipeg now. They have been for months. They're very strict on their protocols, and
including with Bob Odenkirk. So,
yes. Although that opening of The Nobody, shot here in Winnipeg, Cody,
Ooh, really?
got pushed to. Is it pushed to streaming in March now?
It's actually the new
April?
Bond. It's the new Bond movie. Bob Odenkirk's playing Bond. So that's my hot take. Nobody knows about it yet, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that movie, honestly.
I am too. Like, I mean, it was like, we'll see how it plays out, eh? It's got a bit of that, a history of violence and John Wick, like almost like the two are mushed together. You can almost hear that in the pitch, eh? Think John Wick meets, a history of violence.
Yeah. John Wick, but he's got kids and a wife and a mortgage.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and we can do it for under $5 million. We'll shoot it in Winnipeg. Where the hell is that? It's where we shot all those Christmas movies. Oh yeah, let's go. All right, folks. The next is best television. Jim, you're in the big frame. Why don't you?
Hold on. Why don't you go to Cody for a second? I
can easily do that.
My notes there.
Cody.
Got caught up.
Woody.
Best television.
Well, I have a Samsung myself. It's a nice 40-inch 4K TV.
Why you?
120. Quick.
Okay. Let's see. And
this might be a perfect time to let everyone know you can find Cody on Twitter for more of those hot takes and little bon mots. Cody on Twitter at Cody Brockopp.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, I lost my notes too for a second there.
Okay, so best television, my friend.
Let's see. There's another one of those from like, wow, I am way behind on watching things, but I think it's cool that The Mandalorian got nominated for got nominated for best TV show. I think it'd be really cool to see that win, especially with season 2. I think it was really well done. I think it's a lot stronger than season 1, but I thought season 1 was pretty strong too. So that'd be my personal pick.
Yeah.
I've heard really good things about Ozark. I've only seen a very tiny bit of it, but when that new season dropped like last summer or whatever, people were raving about it. So I feel like that might be the one that they go to for the pick as the winner. I've also heard some good things about Lovecraft Country and The Crown, but again, haven't seen those. So yeah, I guess personal pick, Mandalorian, most likely to be picked.
That's your heart pick.
Probably either Ozark or The Crown, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any eye pokers in there for you?
Not particularly. No. Somebody said that Ratchet should not be on there. I think Upside Down just said that. Haven't seen it. It's kind of hard to have like really hot takes on things when you feel like you have barely scratched the surface on what was nominated. So
yeah.
But yeah, whatever.
Doesn't stop me. Sean watches everything, and he can have a hot take on a lot.
Yeah. See, nothing really as far as like the "ooh, how dare they put that on there" kind of thing. So yeah, that's my.
That's where you're
cents.
coming from, groovy. Yeah. Jim, what? Give us your feelings on everything.
Well, they tend to. I mean, again, if you want to break it down into different things, is sort of the new show, the veteran shows, and then the surprising show, or the show with representation, right? For me, the heart, I quite enjoyed The Mandalorian. I don't think it was the best thing that I'd ever seen. Like, it was good. It was enjoyable in this, it was super enjoyable to watch. It was fun. It was nice to see different angles on the desert people.
When's the last time we've seen a Western?
Yeah.
Even though it's a neo-Western. Yeah. But a Western on television.
But even the the sign language with him and doing the sort of the trading language with the what do you call the desert people?
Sand people.
Sand people, yeah, the sand people. That was kind of that was super interesting. Just sort of deepened your appreciation for a lot of the different, Boba Fett and a lot of different characters that whole side of that universe. So that was kind of fun.
You can bring your gain down just a touch, Jim.
Yeah,
when you get a chance.
It's a different setup, so I can't. It's different this time, so I can't find that previous gain button that I had with the Blue Yeti. It shows up.
It'll be that same Windows thing.
Yeah, no, it shows up differently.
Okay.
Instead of 5, I get 4.
Gotcha.
But I might turn it down a bit. So Mandalorian, yeah, probably the Crown will win. What I don't think deserved it was Lovecraft County. It's
really
fun at first. I didn't finish it. It got really sloggy, and it was there was too much. It was like a real spaghetti against the wall kind of thing, and very sloppily written, very oddly directed. There were parts of it that I liked, but and there were some good performances, but I didn't finish it. I stopped watching it. I don't know that I'll go back.
Okay, well, there you go. For myself, guys, I don't know, my heart. I've really enjoyed The Mandalorian, and I look forward to the 3rd season. But if I was talking about what I really want to see, if I could only get, because I think of Ted Lasso and I think of The Mandalorian, and I would, if it was one over the other, I'd be happier if it was Ted Lasso over The Mandalorian. That said, I'm kind of, and here's a weird thing, like they're putting small acts in the television category. Whereas I could see that more like film. Like it was one of the reasons we've looked at it on our show, Jim. But as far as what I think I have no problem seeing the Queen's Gambit. It's like that I think that's pretty safe money. So the Queen's Gambit as a safe money bet. I'm kind of stuck between The Mandalorian and Ted Lasso. It's an eye poker, that Emily in Paris. It is not a good, it's a terrible premise. It generated no buzz. Like any coverage it got was, well, this is offensive, and it's almost like, given the time, the economics, because it's one of those you could almost see in a different time where I'm thinking almost like a Gossip Girl or one of those where it's half of the show is just looking at rich people doing what rich people do. I don't like, this is just, it hits a wrong note. It hits the bell and it's sharp or it's flat or something. It's just the wrong note. And I think for a number of reasons, it's like, how does, this is a time where it's like, well, good lobbying, I guess, because I don't think it's on the screen, I don't know, anyone else gone, no, Rob, you're wrong. Emily in Paris is genius satire, or, oh, it's actually subversive, or...
You just don't get it, man.
I don't know. I'm not even getting that, though. No one's going, you don't get it. Well, except
You're just stupid, this one.
Yeah. You big dummy. See, this is, although, you know what, Cody, I don't know about you, but I think
I'm stupid too, don't worry.
No. I think for Jim and I, though, I don't know, what do you think, Jim? Are we really going to make it when we start getting criticized by whack jobs on the internet?
Yeah,
when they're really calling us stupid and we don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, well, I was going to say it's a good problem to have, but maybe it isn't. Just give me a modest.
Yeah. But yeah, those would be that's my feeling as far as the television goes. And yeah, like you guys, a lot of these things, I got to be honest, I haven't seen. Some of it's, well, we talked about the flight attendant. Even that I didn't see The Great. Like I'm just talking within the character. And how the hell is the flight attendant in musical or comedy? What the
yeah.
Like, isn't it about a murder with a lot of blood?
It's a little hijinksy.
I don't see them break out into song.
No, it's a little madcappy, little hijinksy. I think that the
maybe
wacky
like a
energy.
dark comedy sort of thing.
Well, if you watch the opening sequence, that kind of jazzy, colorful opening sequence, it's done like almost like a Mad Men, like a funnier version of Mad Men, even with the falling character, right? So,
and the blood and.
Yeah, and the weird
death
deer and that kind of thing too. I do have to say though that this weird category, the best television motion picture, which features actual series, which is strange. Normal People, Queen's Gambit, Small Axe, The Undoing, and Orthodox. That seems to be one of the stronger categories, except for I don't really care about The Undoing, which was the Hugh Grant, Nicole Kidman vehicle. But the other three, if you haven't, I haven't seen Unorthodox. It's got great reviews. The Queen's Gambit, great reviews. Normal People's fantastic, and Small Axe, which Rob and I watched one of them so far. Because they're not as...
I was almost pissed that Letitia Wright wasn't on there, but I think that one came out outside of their window.
Yeah. But that's probably one of the stronger categories, I would have to think.
Yeah. What do we before we move on to film, let's just catch up with the chat.
Sure. Those guys,
Yeah. The Upside Down says, Ratchet, like the Nurse Ratchet, the weird, hey, let's build the backstory of this villain. Like, well, I guess it's because Psycho worked somehow. I never watched it. I was like, why? In the reel says, yeah, Ratchet is a ridiculous pick. They were stoned when they chose that as nominee. Sean coming in with another hot take. All right. Vlad65 says, on television. He goes, on TV, Trust the Crown does not win. Oh. That show needs a disclaimer that conversations are real. Well, but hoping for Queen's Gambit in its category for making chess sexy again. Or just sexy. Although, I don't know, Cody, as a younger man, did you, before the Queen's Gambit, did you know any chess players? Because you would have grown up in the Deep Blue era, where... Sorry, go ahead.
I think the only chess player I'm aware of is the one that everyone's aware of, and that's Bobby Fischer. And that's pretty much only because Tobey Maguire played him in that movie in 2013, I think. Mm-hmm. And I mean, Tobey, he made chess pretty sexy back then, so, Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you, Jim, but I remember, even the 70s and 80s, you'd know who Kasparov was. You'd know a couple other Russians. The Fischer chess match in Iceland was still within everyone's real memory. That was only 8 years ago, or so I think it was a bigger deal when we were younger. But
Kasparov and Karpov, they had similar names.
That's it. Karpov was the other one. Yeah. And then. Was it Kasparov? Did he escape? Did he defect? And then he went back, and he's become kind of a gadfly.
Yeah.
A conservative gadfly, and then a pro-democracy gadfly.
A larrikin.
Okay, back to the chat here. Lost in the Reel. Vlad65 completely. Oh, okay. This is some of the back and forth. Gotta love it when they're going on their own adventures. Oh, Vlad65 chimes in on a couple of our choices. Mandalorian, question mark. As a crabby old guy, I still can't forgive the franchise for the Ewoks where it lost me. Sorry. Yeah, Vlad, I would say you need to give the Mandalorian a shot, I think. Like, that makes up for a lot of that. They have a high concentration of cute in one character, but not that blanket of cute everywhere. Does that make sense? What do you?
Yeah,
you guys?
It's not an army of teddy bears versus stormtroopers, so that's an improvement.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And really, Baby Yoda is 50 years old, so he's just sort of
look at a cute elderly person. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wants to eat at 4 p.m. He has his. If he can't find Matlock, then he gets angry. Those kinds of things.
All right. Lost in the Reel says, I think they picked Emily in Paris because the creator also created Sex and the City, and the Hollywood Foreign Press Association are obsessed with him and that show.
Oh yeah,
that's an interesting take. You guys buying that?
Well, maybe even with Nurse Ratched, because I believe that Ryan Murphy that's one of his projects, and they love everything that he does, don't they? So
okay. Well, it is only it's 60, 70 people. Like, that's it. It's not a massive organization, and it's got an interesting history. Vlad65 says, my favorite to pick on, Emily in Paris belongs in 1965 network television. Yeah. You know what? All they would need to have done, just to make it that little more ridiculous, to shoot it in the back lot. Yeah. We can make LA look like Paris. No problem. All right. Okay. The Lost in the Reel says the Undoing was so blah. Good start, but terrible finish. Does that jive with your experience? Did you?
No, Carla. My wife watched it, but she said it was sort of meh as well. I can't believe how much Sean watches. He makes me feel like like a monk in a monastery without a TV or something.
Well, you know what? Yeah, Sean's on top of it. What do you?
Yeah, no kidding. Props.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Getting him on this show. Yeah.
It reminds me of that part of New Girl where one of the characters is trying to catch up because he's playing basketball in Latvia, and they say, "What are you doing?" And he's trying to inhale all this pop culture. He goes, "I'm watching The King's Speech and The Human Centipede on 2 different laptops."
Cody, did you see The Undoing?
No.
That was with Nicole Kidman, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And rest assured, Cody. I suspect we'll do some collaborations. Perhaps they're in process with him, but it's not like we're in a big rush to have him on regularly so he can show us how lazy we are. We're like guys like you, where we feel equal.
The
Hot
other
take
thing,
and a cheap shot, all in one. Christensen for the win.
In terms of some of the snubs too, like that, the one that everyone's up in arms with is "I May Destroy You," and that's one I haven't seen. And it's sort of hard to, get a sort of angry hot take on something that you haven't seen either. It sort of makes me want to watch it though. That that's one thing in its favor. So.
Lost in the Reel chimes in, rude.
Hey, don't blame me or Jim. Blame the guy dressed like a plumber down there, okay?
Oh, come on.
Uh-oh.
All right. Cranston, Vlad65 says, this is last comment before we move to film. All right. Cranston got a nomination for Your Honor. Do any of you guys like that series, which is another that is about 2 episodes too long? Yeah, I couldn't even be bothered watching.
My son is watching it, and he reports back that while he likes Bryan Cranston, the character of the son, which is the one that sets everything in motion, is super irritating, and and the subplots are ridiculous. So the son apparently is fornicating with his own teacher and dating the sister of the guy that he killed at the same time and all kinds of stuff. So spoiler alert, sorry.
What's the name of the show again?
Lost in the Rail says, "Oh, I do, Cody. I do." All right, guys. Let's move on to best film.
What was
Come on, man,
take?
Cody? You're.
Okay, you didn't say like, oh, go for it. All right, I'm waiting for you.
Okay, all right. Well, now I'm saying, go for it. What's what tugs at the heart, man?
Okay, well, just after looking back at the nominations here again, it's.
Well, they do have best screenplay. Damn it. Okay. Anyway, continue.
Okay.
Sorry.
So just looking at like the drama category real quick, this is kind of like the part where I was like, oh man, I am really not caught up on my movie watching for 2020. So like one of the only ones I actually saw was Promising Young Woman, so I kind of have to just naturally go for that one. But I also believe that Palm Springs got nominated in the comedy category. Those are two I would definitely love to see win their respective categories. Mm-hmm. And as far as the movie that I think will end up winning, I think could possibly either be Nomadland with the Frances McDormand movie,
that hook,
or possibly Trial of the Chicago 7. Again, it's one of those like I need to watch it. I probably never will because I'm too busy binging Whose Line Is It Anyway right now. But I'll get. But it sounds like it had a good buzz around it. So
it's a very good film.
That's just kind of my take on it.
But it's a very good film. Mm-hmm. I didn't mean just to cut you off there, Cody. You continue. So
that's okay. I was done with my thoughts anyway.
Your bet is on Promising Young Women. Your heart, though, is saying Palm Springs. You're hoping for that one. Although it doesn't sound.
It's two separate categories, so
Yeah, when it doesn't sound like you were maybe didn't rave about it as much as some others did, but you like Promising Young Woman. You thought it was like a. Am I right?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was really immersed in the whole movie. I didn't do a proper review of it just because it was kind of like past that. It was kind of belated at that point, but but Palm Springs
came a little late. Yeah.
Yeah, I got into it kind of late.
Any of the ones that stick any needles in the eye?
Let's see. See that one movie, The Father, with what was it? Anthony Hopkins. That's not really a poke in the eye as much as a shock to the system. It was like, oh, I didn't realize that came out yet. I thought that was coming out in March, so that was kind of a surprise. Let's see, just kind of looking back at it real quick.
But it was briefly streamed.
I was
9:52 a.m. October 3rd.
Yeah, and I haven't heard particularly desirable things about the movie The Prom. I guess that's not really doing too hot, so I'm sure if I actually sit down and watch the movie, I'd probably be like, that one, but yeah, that's just kind of my thoughts about it.
All right. Jim, you want to go? You want me to go?
First, I can go. First of all, I think the movie poster for Promising Young Woman should win something because that's a dynamite throwback movie poster with the real sort of late 70s, early 80s thing. That's a work of art.
You're talking about the one with the lips on it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like the presentation of them too. I'd have to say
even where you can't even see her.
Yeah.
Here I'll zoom. There it is. For those of you playing.
Oh no, there's another one actually.
The one. Yeah, the one like below it. Yeah.
Right on the third row.
Down. Over. One more. There you go.
Oh, this one. Oh, yeah. That's also got Rocky Horror Picture Show going on in there.
Yeah, and the different fonts
going on there. Yeah.
But Chicago 7, I'd have to stick with. It's a great, pretty traditional, probably. Nomadland, interestingly, is based on a non-fiction book, which you don't always see. Mank, I think a lot of people have probably seen that. The Father, I agree. There seems to be a real divorce between some of those late releases this year, especially this year. And I don't even know if the Father. I mean, there's so many categories, so many movies to check up on, and I'm not even sure if it's released where we are currently. So.
Well, and it's got a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, but you gotta kind of wonder, like when you see that score there, it's like, oh, with 5 reviews, like it was barely looked at. It isn't even getting released till February 26th.
Yeah. So that might sort of get in the way of people actually,
I'll be damned. It does have 50 reviews.
Okay.
All considered positive.
That's like a couple 15. More than 5, I think.
Yeah. Ooh, zing!
That's almost 6.
Sorry, I just got kicked in the ass here. Ow! Hey-o!
I'll show myself out. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Anything to add there, Jim? So you're liking, like, for your money, it's the Trial of Chicago 7.
Chicago 7, yeah. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I know they don't really do a lot of the usual tricks like play with chronology or anything like that, but yeah, I'd say that one.
You don't have to.
Yeah, no. But typically, if somebody tries something different, it's that usually gives it some bonus points. And then for musical comedy, I like Palm Springs, again, probably one of the more traditional pictures in that category. But it was fun and had some heart to it, and again, a little bit of a take on Groundhog Day, but a little bit different as well. So
yeah, and also it's got J.K. Simmons trying to kill Andy Samberg for most of it, so that's a plus too.
Yes.
All right, so for me, guys, I'm gonna say I think the safe bet, at least within that category, that drama, I actually think No Man's Land is the one that's going to take it. Like, I mean, you know what? It's got a lot of elements that I think allow any kind of group of critics or, foreign press, to show that they're in tune with the times, especially that idea of economic dislocation and, so it's got a lot of, it gives an award show, look, we have gravitas. That's it.
Yeah.
Although I'd say, as far as of the films I've seen, as far as the quality goes, I agree with you, Jim, the Trial of Chicago 7, notwithstanding the parts of it that really still kind of piss me off. It was a great movie. Like, it's got its problems, but it really was a great film. Unlike a movie. There, they have Cliff on the cliff, and the audience gets it.
Yeah.
Cliff is lame. It's too cerebral. We're trying to make a movie here, not a film.
Yes. He knows.
Sorry, you just tapped into my Bowfinger love there for a second there.
Yeah. How can you not? Like, I mean, damn, that movie holds up.
I know,
even with its problems. Okay.
Excuse me?
I do have an eye poker here, but it's not about the quality of the film. It's about the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. In Best Motion Picture Foreign Language, which is really their foreign film thing, they've got Minari, which is made by Americans, set in the United States, about the American immigrant story. It just because it's the older people, they're speaking in Korean, and it's I think it's Korean. It's not like Taiwanese, Chinese, or anything. It's Korean. And so they put it in that category. You're foreign, and I think that's kind of it's an eye poker, but it also kind of shows how much the world has changed. Where like, I mean, it's not just the lefty like me who's going, seems kind of bullshit. You know, like there's a lot of what I would call mainstream film comment types who are like going, whoa, it's still couldn't get more American, you know? It has to have 3, you know? So I kind of, it'd be interesting to see the impact of that. You know, do they come out with another definition? Mm-hmm. Do they say, no, we're just going to have a foreign film category? And yeah, the chances are people will either put it in for that. Because, like, I mean, if the Oscars can do Parasite as a main film, as a mainstream, mm-hmm. then why can't it do this? Although, who knows? Maybe they're thinking, and I don't mean this to get super political, but all these organizations are tuned in. Maybe they were worried that Trump was going to win, and they didn't want to get crapped on like the Oscars did for Parasite. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, who knows? I don't know. But that's a bit of an eye poker. What were you, sorry, Cody, were you gonna?
No,
I thought you were gonna say something. Okay, all right, never mind. So that's the eye poker for me, but not as a comment on the film, but more on the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. All right, before we talk about. Because we still got a few things on our agenda. But before we get into our last thoughts, let's go to the chat and also maybe talk about our next live stream, Jim. But first, let's... oh, yeah. People are still talking about Bowfinger, which, Jim, is coming up on for the last month at least, you know, one of the best ones we've done so far, Jim.
Yeah,
as far as
it was fun.
Watch time and everything. And that was like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
You know, which is kind of awesome.
Wish I could have snuck into that one.
Yeah, it was a good one, man. Like,
say, Cody, did you know it's still available to watch?
I'll send you a link.
What?
Yeah,
you can do that
in our archive.
Absolutely.
This is a show,
and it's a quick 4 hours. No. I'm just...
And actually, yeah, we were just over 2 hours, which is not bad. Still longer than the film is.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo. Nowhere near as funny, but just as entertaining.
Yes.
Although, do you find that it's, you know, there's some films where you're almost like you're enjoying the remembering those scenes. And I think Bowfinger for Jim and I suspect for you, yeah, Cody, you have that. There's a clip, and it's too cerebral.
Yeah, I could quote that movie all day.
Oh, it's so good.
When you went to film school, was a lot of your other film school media type big on Bowfinger, or?
No, actually, I got into that movie when I was like 10 years old.
Really?
Yeah, I was actually at my sister's house for like the weekend or something, and they had the movie on DVD and they showed it to me. Yeah. And no joke, that movie actually went up into... Oh, there he is. It actually kind of got me...
I was hoping to slip in the Cody thing. I wanted you to see it, but anyway. Yeah. That movie got you.
It got me... Bad. Yeah, it kind of opened my eyes to the concept of people make these movies. There's people that, you know, there's the writer, you got the director, you know, you got these cameras, these actors and all that. It's like, that kind of opened my mind to all that kind of stuff.
Really?
You know, it's a very comedic, you know, we need to find a guy with a fabulous ass and mine's the wrong color, you know. It's like, it's all that kind of stuff, but it kind of started to get the wheels turning in my head that, hey, you could make movies and, you know, you can do that. And
with only $2,184.
Yep.
Movie.
That's before taxes.
Every movie costs $2,184.
That's just post-net deduction, turbo to 10% of the nut.
Yeah, the nut, yeah. Holy cow. Cody, in addition
I've seen that movie too many times, yeah.
In addition to it being a major star in this movie, would you be willing to run errands?
All right.
Would you be willing to cut your hair? Yes. That's probably better if somebody else does it.
All right.
Accidents.
Okay. But yeah, no, Murphy was brilliant in that. Okay, Vlad65 says, Interesting that Mank got the most nominations, I believe, 4, but I don't sense a ton of buzz. It seemed to demand too much knowledge of old Hollywood and obscure California politics. Yes, I would go further. I think part of the problem also was it was like Fincher squared, very stylistic. So it's not just you need this contextual knowledge, and you got to be willing to dive into the style that he was doing with the whole black and white and everything. What do you guys think?
Yeah, not everyone appreciates black and white anymore, unfortunately. So I do see where you're coming with that thing. You know, I unfortunately have not watched it all the way through just because, you know, bad timing of night and having to go to sleep and all that. But yeah, I mean, it's made like a Hollywood movie from the era, which I think is really cool. But not everyone's gonna appreciate that sort of thing. So yeah, I think you're kind of right in that category.
Well, I'm not. I was more kind of throwing it out as an idea. I'm buying what Vlad's saying as well. What do you think, Jim?
Well, you know, in terms of just stylization, you know, you have to think in the last 20 years, I believe Roma was black and white, no? And as was The Artist. So those are fairly recent, like within the last 15 years. So maybe that's sort of adding a couple points to the challenge of it.
I'm not sure. I don't even think. I'm not saying black and white is although that's a stylization. It's not natural but like The Artist was super clear, like almost like you're looking at a Criterion Collection restoration of Joan of Arc or something.
Yeah.
But whereas this, it seemed to be like, you know, that Fincher style. Like you really are like as much as he's, like you know you're watching a Fincher movie. Yeah. You know you're watching something directed, and that maybe that's part of what Mank kind of, you add the knowledge stuff that he's talking about, black and white, which is already, it's like you're adding a lot of stuff onto people. Like it's almost like that first step, it's a doozy, after that, the staircase is fine, We also got...
there's the old comment, too, that I stole from, I believe, a CBC reviewer, is that best directed doesn't mean most directed. So
well,
that's something to think about.
Although he recently came out of a piece like he doesn't believe in auteur theory, and it's like, you sure about that, David? 100%?
Yeah, like Mr. Auteur himself,
yeah. Ahmed says, JellyDuck100 says, I just want to know, Cody, that I saw his latest video, that bootleg of Blue's Clues. That was awesome, man. You nailed that. Jim, have you seen it yet?
I just noticed it today. I think I got either I think I saw it on Twitter, yeah.
Cool. I strongly recommend it to everyone. Even if you're not into the whole Blu-ray haul thing or the Blu-ray review, you need to watch this one just for a bit of like weird nostalgia, and it's kind of neat the way he took it. Cool. Vlad65 says not just black and white, but Orson style black and white. Yeah, there's a style thing going on. Yeah, how many scenes are deep focus? Like they're all like, I'm gonna do it exactly, and it's like, well, okay, great. Oh well. All right, guys. Let us. Jim. Why don't you tell us what we're watching this Sunday? What?
Oh yeah. I thought
Sunday.
Already?
Exactly. Sunday. What are we looking at for Sunday? What comes out on Friday?
Set aside a plate for some kimchi because we're watching some Korean science fiction. Space Sweepers.
Ooh.
That's yes. It comes out, folks. Just so you know, Space Sweepers does come out on this Friday on Netflix worldwide. Except I think if you're in Pacific Rim Asia, but
darn.
yeah.
So they're There's going to be a lineup.
Well, no, I think it actually saw theaters in Korea. But anyway, you can see it on Netflix this Friday. It looks bonkers. 9:30. Yeah, so we'll be here, 9:30 Central Standard Time, Sunday. What is that, February 7th? Thank you. Thank you, Jim. February 7th, Universal Coordinated Time, -6. So hope to see you there. And, of course, what'll make it easy is if you subscribe and if you ring the bell. And what the heck, since you're already there, click on the like.
We're trying a different order. Whoa.
You know what? Oh, wait a sec. Go for it, Cody. Look at that. Well, you know what? You did just do a Blue's Clues thing. Like, I mean, it makes sense. All right. Okie doke, everyone. You know what? Now we're going to bring up the timer again. Let me cue that up. Because we're getting into... Now we're gonna talk about final thoughts here. Final thoughts, and if anyone in the chat has some final thoughts, start typing away now. And after we do our final thought thing, we will come and we'll make sure we work that through before we wrap everything up. All right. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. All right. Okay, Cody, are you ready? Are you
as ready as I'll ever be?
Okie dokie, let's there we are. All right, Cody, give us your final thoughts on what we talked about and on the awards.
Well,
the nominations.
Well, I do gotta say, I need to catch up on quite a few movies now. Definitely. It'll be interesting to see how this turns out, because I don't typically follow the Golden Globes like ever, but I did for the sake of this live stream here. But I definitely want to check out a few more of these nominees, so I feel like I actually could make a more solid prediction, as it leads up into the awards. As far as everything goes,
all right.
Choices were made. Some other choices were made. Some words were said. Some insults were thrown around. But hot takes. Hot takes. Yeah, so hot. Palm Springs deserves all the love, and go Raiders. Yeah.
Well, here, let me ask you this. What's okay? I'll ask you two quick questions. What is the movie? What's the next movie you're going to see, like that? Because of this show, what is the movie you're going to go check? You're going to kind of go, I got to get that on the list now.
Let's see. Definitely need to finish Mank now. I still haven't seen Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. It's one of Chadwick's final performances, so I definitely need to check that out. Yeah. Still haven't seen Trial of the Chicago 7, so pretty much I gotta get all the streaming stuff out of the way. And then once Nomadland finally gets the theatrical release around myself, or I think it's actually coming to Hulu soon, so might just wait for that, but yeah, I got a lot of work to do.
Okay, all right. Jim, are you ready?
You bet.
Okay.
So some of the things that we didn't touch upon really quickly in a minute. The director category, there was 3 women, including Emerald Fennell, 35 years old, and an actress. Regina King, a black actress known for Watchmen. There's Chloe Zhao, who did Nomadland. And then 2 white guys. So probably one of the white guys. No, I'm just kidding. But that's interesting. The screenplay also is an interesting category.
Folks, that's a facetious hot take.
The animation, I haven't seen any of them. My kids are grown, so we don't go out we don't go out these days, but we typically would watch the cartoon movies.
Soul got a nomination, didn't it?
Yes. Music, Ludwig Göransson for Tenet, which I think is one of the few categories, and Go Normal People.
Alrighty.
Bing.
Bing. Okay.
And as to that other question, I think the next movie I need to watch that I haven't seen yet is I think I'll probably go. I'm trying to talk my wife into seeing Soul, but also if for fans of Stephen Colbert, John Baptiste, who's the band leader, is in there with Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor as a nominee. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I saw Soul. Really, yeah. I think I would recommend it.
Yeah.
Cody, what do you think? Like, I mean, have you seen Soul yet?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think I liked Onward a little bit more just because the fantasy elements in there, but
I have no memory of Onwards being released or showing up or what. So I'm gonna have to check that out as well.
It's on Disney Plus. I mean.
Yes, yeah.
There you go. Hey, you get a twofer. As we wait. Oh, and that's another thing, folks. I'm going to just shamelessly take over the screen for a quick second here. One other thing I want to let everyone know. Jim and I, on March 7th, are going to do our first, what we can really call a TV show. We're waiting until the whole season's over because just the way this particular TV show is structured, I don't think you can do what we do on an episode or even a couple of episodes. Got to really wait for the whole season to be over. And that will be, so March 7th, because that's 2 days after March 5th. And March 5th is the last episode of WandaVision. Jim and I have both been getting really into it. So yeah, if that's something you guys are interested in, catch up on. It's worth the $6 a month Canadian. That's what we're paying, right, Jim? $6.
Something like that.
Oh,
yeah.
maybe $7. You know, it's worth the dough. Rent it just to get caught up on that and watch it right through. WandaVision, and then March 7th we're going to do our particular take on that. So, just so you're aware. All right. Okay. Yeah, Cody, that's going to be gooder. All right. Here's my minute. Notwithstanding everything we've talked about, and it's fun to talk about this stuff. It's kind of entertaining, but I was teasing a friend of mine who I believe is in the chat, and I was teasing, and I was going, so what was your favorite memory of the Golden Globe Awards from the 2000s? How about the 90s? What about 2013? You know, it's like, it is. It's like, nobody cares. Like, if we remember anything, like you were saying at the beginning, Jim, so no matter what we're saying here, take it all with a big grain of salt, have a couple of laughs. The great films, time tells us that. These things are, the people who care about them the most are the people who win them. Don't get me wrong, if I was ever up for an award, it's all I'd ever freaking talk about.
Bing! Bing, bing, bing!
Woo. All right, there's my hot take. Oh, there we go. Or again, I should have just brought up the music on myself.
Play him off.
Get the hook. All right, guys. Listen, first, Cody, are you going to, go to the hang out with us in the green room for a bit afterwards?
Okay.
We have another collaboration idea. The Oscars is coming up. That may be a little more, I have an idea of how the mechanics will work for that.
Oh, good. I was wondering about that.
I have an idea. All right. So, listen, I want to say, first of all, let's just jump into the chat briefly, see if we've missed anyone. Yes. Vlad says, and that's right. For those of you who don't know, Jim and I are now putting all the movies that we're doing for the next month or so, like the next 4 or 5 movies, we're now putting in a little table in the description of this of the video. So if you're wondering what we're doing in a couple of weeks because you like to plan, or you're not sure where you're going to find it, you need a little more time, check it out there. Of course, Sunday, Space Sweepers. And I wanted to give everyone a heads up about The Mandalorian because that is, or not The Mandalorian, WandaVision, because that is a series, and you gotta catch up a bit. You got lots of time. They're all short, like 30, 40 minutes, but still, you're gonna need some time. Thanks very much for your comment on that. Vlad's final thoughts. As Jim stated at the outset, this is one confusing and strangely overstuffed award show. I don't expect high ratings for this one. That's an interesting, guys, think of a prediction on ratings. Like, heck, I didn't even know. Good, bad, middle. Yeah, exactly.
I liked it this much.
Ahmed's got to go. Jelly Duck, thanks so much for coming by. Lost in the Reel. Sean over at Lost in the Reel says, "Onward better than Soul Cody." That's a hot take.
Yes, let your anger guide you.
Look at this. And then the Upside Down. Oh,
are you falling, Dan, or something?
No, I think what it is, he's a WandaVision. I think that's what he's getting excited about.
As long as he didn't fall down a well or something, we're good.
Exactly. Oh, Katie Fowler says, what Vlad said about the overstuffed nature of this show.
So is it even going to be like on a stage this year? Or are they going to do it all remotely?
Tina Fey and Amy Poehler are doing it from opposite coasts, apparently.
Oh, there you go. So it's going to be a
totally
remoter
not stupid
again.
or anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I suspect that one of the reasons they pushed it is, but it's February 28th. Yeah, there won't be enough vaccinations or any of that, and not in California or New York. Yeah, no, it'll be like they did with the Emmys.
Just do it and hope nobody remembers it yet.
Yeah. Well, that's we'll figure out a way to come back. At least, you know what, guaranteed, folks. The three of us will come back after the awards, kind of go over our hot takes and see where it all kind of landed. There will be something like that. It may be a live to tape, and then we'll just put it out there, or we may do it, append it to one of our other shows, or maybe we'll just do a whole show on it. Could be fun. All right, everyone. I think that's about it, guys. Cody, once again, thank you so very much. Thank you, sir, so very much
for
making it out. Gotta start practicing that. That's gonna be a thing. But yeah, Cody, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for bringing your opinion and your watching, because it just makes it a lot more entertaining that way. And your hot takes. Your awesome hot takes, sir. And that Blue's Clues thing was fun. And I like the way it's super short too. Like, you're not.
I didn't mean it.
You got the gag. You complained about no extras.
Yeah,
it was perfect.
I thought it would be like slightly longer, but I was just kind of going off all the random jokes I came up with like 2 days beforehand. So I was like, all right, just do that joke, do that joke, do that joke. Oh shoot, it's only 3 minutes long. Oh well.
Excellent. Well, listen, meet us in the green room. And again, thanks very much, Cody. And everyone, go check out his channel, The Brockopp Side on YouTube. There is a link in the description for that. And if you're curious, you can find him. Cody on Twitter is at Cody Brockopp. All right. Okay, Jim. Cody. All right, Jim, we'll meet you in the green room.
You bet.
All right. Thanks, my friend.
Thanks, folks. See you later.
All right, everybody. Once again. Oh, wait. What's that, sir? Oh, I think you're just screwing around. Never mind. Okay, everyone. Thank you all very, very much for coming, especially on a Wednesday, to talk about this nonsense. Again, one of the many reasons you guys are the best chat on the internet. The Upside Down, good night, and thanks for popping in. Katie, Richard L, Katie Fowler, Richard L, Vlad, thank you so much. Vlad65, thanks for coming by, bringing your experience to the table. Sean, Lost in the Reel, especially after all that work you did over at Sundance that you came by, really, really appreciate that, man. And well, we'll be talking soon anyway. Ahmed, if you're still here, you know what? Have a great rest of your day. And Shashank, you as well. I know you're going to be watching this later. Thanks for watching it later, and looking forward to hearing your take on all these subjects in the comments. So Vlad, Ahmed, Sean, I think I've got everyone tonight. Who am I missing? Richard, Katie, the Upside Down. Yeah, no, I think I've got everyone. And again, thank you all very, very, very much for coming. And I think it's that time. I think I'm going to bring down the music, and I'm going to cue the outro. Take it. I've been in your world.